Hey everyone, how's it going? Cloud here, and welcome to my guide on the Zogre Flesh Eater's quest. Now, for this quest, you're going to need the following requirements. So you must complete these quests: Druidic Ritual, Big Chompy Bird Hunting, and Jungle Potion quests. And you need the following skills: level 4 Smithing, level 8 Herblore, level 20 Strength, level 30 Range, and level 30 Fletching. This one, though, isn't required if you choose to buy your own Ogre Bow, which I'll speak about in a few moments' time. You also need a combat level in order to be able to fight a level 58, whatever you base to do. However, for this quest I will recommend range, which again I'll get onto a bit further on. As for recommendation regarding skills, if you've got level 40 and level 43 prayer to help protect from range, protect from melee, that will help. And also, if you have level 20 crafting or higher, it makes a better chance of making a correct portrait. Again, that'll make sense a bit further on. That's it for the requirements. Now on to the items. So the only things you're going to need really are armour for the fight ahead of you. As I mentioned, range is probably the most recommended, and it will make sense further on in the quest. The actual quest items you're going to need an Ogre Composite Bow, or the items in order to make one. However, I would just recommend buying one. It's much cheaper and much easier. So on the Grand Exchange, if you just type in Ogre Composite Bow, you can buy that. And to go with the bow, you're going to want some brutal arrows, because these are what the main enemy you'll be fighting is weak against. You can buy any type based around your level, so mithril, adamant, etc. However, I would recommend going for sort of mithril or higher if possible, as they will just deal that little bit extra damage, which will help in the fight. Other than that, just food and any sort of prayer potions you think you're going to need for the rest of the quest. So that's it for the requirements and items. Now onto the quest starting point. So we're currently at the Yanil Lodestone, which we can access via the Lodestone network. Now we're going to be travelling to this Lodestone quite a fair bit throughout this quest. So if you don't have the Yanil Lodestone unlocked, as well as a few others, I have a guide in the description below on unlocking the Lodestone network, and it's just very helpful when completing quests if you're able to get around easier. But from here, we're going to head to the quest starting point, which is by heading to a sort of fortress area, which is south of Castle Wars. So we're going to start heading that direction now. Just watch where I'm going. Just keep heading towards the Castle Wars arena, and then as you get near, turn south and you should start seeing the quest star on the minimap, and you'll see a load of ogres together, and we want to speak to the ogre called Grish to start the quest. So when you speak to Grish, he instructs you to leave the area immediately, as it has been infected with certain creatures called Zogres. These zombie ogres are appearing from the ground and spreading sickness over the ogre ceremonial site. Asks if you can help, and he says the underground burial dungeon must be for the reason for the Zogres' presence. Grish will give you 2 super restore potions and 3 cooked chompy birds. Once he's given them to you, talk to the ogre guard to the east by the barricades, and after you mention Grish's mission, he removes the barricade to allow you inside the Zogre infested area. You want to jump over the barricade and attempt to avoid the Zogres and Skogres while running east to a set of stairs going down, and these take you into the dungeon. Once you're in the dungeon, proceed to the far northwest corner of the dungeon to an area with several ogre coffins. When you enter the room, you'll see a short cutscene where the contents of the room are focused on a skeleton and an ogre coffin. You want to search the skeleton over here, which is propped up on the broken lectern, which will spawn an aggressive zombie. You want to kill the zombie using whatever method you want. Zogres are particularly weak against brutal arrows, but you won't know how to use your brutal arrows and bow quite yet, so you'll just have to use your other method for the time being. Once you have killed the aggressive zombie, you'll obtain a backpack which contains a Dragon Inn tankard, some rotten food, and a knife. You can get rid of the rotten food, and you need a knife to open the coffin. Also search the broken lectern to find a torn page that contains a spell used to place a curse on an area. The page reveals a guild emblem on the closer inspection as well. Make sure you keep this page, as you'll need it later on. You then want to search the coffin just over here. If these ogres are being particularly annoying, you can sort of get them trapped around the coffin, which will allow you to then look at it without being attacked. You want to use your knife on the coffin to unlock it and search it again to lift the lid. You might need a couple of tries depending on your strength level. When the coffin is open, search it to obtain a black prism. We now want to head to Yanil again, so teleport to Yanil via the Lodestone network. Once you're arrived in Yanil, proceed to the Dragon Inn, which is located in the southwest corner of the city at the local pub, and you want to use the Dragon Inn tankard on the bartender. And the bartender explains that the tankard belongs to Brental Varn, a not-so-moral customer who is usually seen with a shady wizard. So what we need to do now is head over to the Rune Crafting Guild to speak to Savistic Rav. You'll find that over in this direction towards the east. If you don't have the required magic level to enter the guild, you can ring the front doorbell and Savistic will appear outside instead. So, once you've got him in front of you, you want to talk to him and show him the Black Prism and Torn Page, and he mentions that although practicing black arts is forbidden, studying is not. A certain Siphic Ince was often seen reading about it, and Rav points you to his location, which is located upstairs in the guest house north of the guild, which is where we're going to head now. So the house is directly north of the guild where you are now, and you want to climb up the stairs, and you'll find the guy we're looking for in the bed. So, Siphic is ill and currently bedridden. Talk to him and he denies any connection to the Zogres, and you tell him you'll need to search the room for evidence. You want to search the drawers, the cupboard and the wardrobe on the west side of the bed, and you'll find a book of portraiture, a necromancy book, papyrus and charcoal, and a book of ham. Read all the books and then use the papyrus on Siphic to draw a portrait of him on it. When done, you need to use the portrait on him. Now, this bit can be a bit tedious. Basically, what you need to do, the portrait needs to look just like him, so then when we go and show it to the bartender in a few minutes, he'll be able to identify him. So what you need to do, if Siphic, you need to pay attention to the dialogue when you show your portrait to him. If Siphic appreciates the truth of the portrait, then the portrait isn't realistic enough and you need to try again. If this happens, search the drawers for more papyrus and sketch him again. You want to keep doing this until his dialogue says this. Siphic will appreciate the honesty of the portrait. So instead of it saying truth in the dialogue, it needs to say honesty. Otherwise, when you go and take it to the Dragon Inn bartender, he won't know what the portrait is. Like I said, this will take a few attempts and it depends on your crafting level. The higher crafting level, the easier it will be to do this bit. I think it took me like 6 or 7 attempts to get the right dialogue from him, so just obviously keep dropping the portraits if they're incorrect and searching the drawers for more papyrus until you have a accurate portrait where he appreciates the honesty of it. And once you have the portrait, you want to return to the Dragon Inn and show the bartender both the tankard and the portrait. The bartender will recognise Siphic, and then you'll ask him to sign it as proof that it is his identification. Once you've done that, you need to return to the Magic Guild and talk to Savistic Rav about some items you'd like him to look at. He'll go through all the evidence automatically, starting with the Necromancy book, then the Torn Page, followed by the Book of Ham and the Dragon Inn tankard. However, what convinces him is the signed portrait. This is enough evidence for him to gather more information, and he'll give you a strange potion which must be used on Siphic to get some answers from him. So we want to return to the house where we found Siphic in bed, and you want to try and use the potion on him. When he refuses it, you then need to use the potion on his cup of tea, which is on top of the drawers. Once you've done that, leave and re-enter the area. So literally just come right out of the house and wait till it's sort of off the mini-map, then go back in and go back upstairs, and you'll find Siphic has turned into an ogre. Talk to him and he'll confess about being a ham member, and he spills out information on the Zogres. Firstly, he had hired Varn to cast a spell to eradicate the ogres, and that is irreversible. The only way to contain the disease is by containing the afflicted, and the undead ogres can be harmed by a special type of arrows, brutal, which are made from flat sides of nails. Finally, the cure from the sickness is by using the healing properties of rosepurse and snakeweed. So what we need to do now, we've learned of the Ogre Composite Bow and the Brutal Arrows, but we need to speak to Grish about these items. So after we speak to Grish, we'll be having a fight. So if you need to now obtain any extra food and items you want to bring with you, but you want to head back to where the quest starting point was, which was south of Castle Wall. So I'll speak to you in a moment. So when you return to Grish, go through all the dialogue options and he'll tell you about the ceremonial grounds, but you also get the option about healing the sickness and about any ways of hurting the Zogres, and you should then be taught about how to use the Ogre Composite Bow and Brutal Arrows, and also how to make a special type of potion. But the potion's irrelevant. What we want is to be able to use the Ogre Composite Bow and Brutal Arrows, and from that point you should be able to now equip them. If it won't let you, then obviously you haven't asked the right dialogue option and you need to go through it again. Anyways, once you've gone through all the dialogue options, Grish will tell you that although he can shift the ceremonial grounds, he needs a sacred ogre artifact to move on, and gives you an ogre gate key to obtain access to the ceremonial chamber. Obviously that will be now the point you can ask about an effective way of killing him. Once you've learnt all this, you then want to climb over the crushed barricade again, dodge the Zogres and Skogres, and climb down the stairs to the east. And then what you want to do is head straight west to the side of the cave and look for 2 successive ogre stone doors. Proceed through these using the gate key and descend down the stairs. And then you want to head northeast past the Zogres and then go east to the far end of the room filled with skulls. And then you want to search the stand amongst the skulls. When you do this, a level 58 Zogre named Slash Bash comes out from behind the skulls and proceeds towards you to attack. He switches between range and melee attack styles. If you are using range, like I said, the Ogre Composite Bow is going to be the best sort of thing to use against him, as the Brutal Arrows are very dangerous against the Zogres. Now, if you're ranging particularly high, you can fight him with melee or magic. However, your hits will only hit about half or less than what they normally do because of his uniqueness of being a Zogre. So hopefully you should have the range level to actually be able to fight him decently, and in which case, as long as you're using the Ogre Composite Bow and Brutal Arrows, it shouldn't take you too long. If the fight is overly long, he can disappear, so if that happens, don't panic. It just means you've spent a little too long fighting him. The main thing you want to do is just try and hit him with as many sort of high attacks as you can, so any ones that cause consistent damage will be absolutely crucial, and obviously any of the ones that do sort of critical damage against him, then that is obviously the other thing you want to do as well. But as long as you're keeping an eye on your health, you should be absolutely fine. And like I said, if you do have the prayer level to do so, you can use protect from missiles or protect from melee, depending on what you're taking more damage from. If you're noticing the range is hurting you more, use protect from range, and vice versa for the melee. But eventually, once Slash Bash is dead, he'll die, and you can then pick up 2 Zogre bones and 3 Orc bones, and the Ogre artifact he drops. We then want to head back out to the entrance of this area and return to Grish to finish the quest. So after speaking to Grish and handing over the Ogre artifact, he will thank you and he'll come up, "Congratulations, you've completed the Zogre Flesh Eater's quest. You're awarded 1 quest point, 3 Orc bones which reward 140 prayer experience each, 2 Zogre bones which reward 22.5 prayer experience each, 2,000 fletching, range and herblore experience, access to Jagex, the ability to equip the inoculation bracelet, ability to fletch composite ogre bow and brutal arrows. A bonus thing, you can take the black prism to Yanni Salaka, who is in Shiloh Village, for 5,000 coins. So that's a little bit of an extra money for you there. Also, if you take a Recycling's Bomb, 3 dose or 4 dose to Ulugnar and give it to him, he will unlock a shop which doesn't really have that much. So to be honest with you guys, I wouldn't even really bother with that. 2 Treasure Keys and 2 Hearts of Ice. So overall, not really too bad of a quest. This quest did used to be a lot harder than this, because I remember from like ages and ages ago doing this quest on my old account, and that is when the disease element was still in game, which would cause consistent damage to you over time. It was similar to poison, but not quite the same, and it wouldn't wear off. You had to actually drink a potion. Now they've kind of taken that out of it. It's not really that difficult at all. But to be honest, the overall rewards from the quest aren't exactly great either. The only bonus I would say is don't worry about using the Augur Bones for prayer experience. They're actually worth a fair bit on the Grand Exchange, so you might as well just sell them on there to get yourself a bit of decent money. Also, this quest is required for quite a few other ones as well, so inevitably you're going to have to do this one at some point. But overall, I don't think you'll get stuck at all following this guide. However, if you do run into any problems, leave a comment in the comment section below and I'll help you out as best as I can. If not, thank you for watching. Please make sure you like, favourite, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to share with your friends. Cheers guys, bye bye.